Good afternoon from Nikki and from me on yet another day that has been gloriously sunny. I know that some people elsewhere in Britain, especially in England, have not been having good weather. I have to say, yesterday and today it did drizzle in the morning. But the rest of the day was glorious. And of course, because I live on a working farm, we won't rain. So I can only say I'm exultant at the weather, incessantly shocked by it. But without further ado, since we have rather good news to impart, as well as some fun times to be had, I will just, if I may, plunge right in. Kaz Clark says, Lady C, I'm sure you saw the pictures of Prince William and Catherine at the Bond film premiere. Catherine looked absolutely stunning, a natural beauty, like a real Bond girl. Was the gold dress a subtle hint? This is how to present oneself. This is what real royalty looks like. Even James Bond himself said to Catherine, you look jolly nice, which of course in Britain is a great compliment. I have to tell you, when I first started living in Britain, I couldn't believe it after the compliments that one got in New York. You'd walk into a room in New York and everybody would flood towards you, all the guys, exultant about your hair, your eyes, your nose, your lips, your this, your that. Once, even my belly button. Doesn't happen in England. If he says you're looking like jolly nice, that means you're looking spectacularly beautiful. Thanks for your educational videos. I learned so much about history, politics, and the pretenders. Thank you. Well, of course, Catherine and William were not alone. They were also there with Prince Charles and Camilla, who, it has to be said, looked lovely. She had on a very nice blue evening gown, very simple with a brooch. Catherine is the one that they shone the spotlight on, justifiably so. You remember the movie Goldfinger, so the dress was spectacularly gold by Jenny Packham, beautifully fitted, with a transparent cape over that, instead of sleeves, cape sleeves. Spectacular, perfect for Bond. William looked terribly debonair. Yes, I think they were actually showing everybody what real royalty looks like and the impact you can make when you stick within the parameters. You know, there was nothing distasteful about the dress. William's suit fitted perfectly. Charles's suits always fit perfectly. Camilla's dress glided over her like a dream, and she's not that easy to dress because she is extremely buxom. They all looked lovely, but Catherine was spectacular. Notice how the dress fitted. Notice whose dresses never fit properly. Oh, I tell you. The movie, of course, was No Time to Die, and they were greeted by Sir Kenneth Oliser, who is the Lord Lieutenant for Greater London, and he is black. And he has made the point on more than one occasion that the royal family is not racist. And he's just one of the many people who has made that point. The Premier benefited various charities, being the charities supporting the former and present members of the three intelligence agencies, the Secret Intelligence Service, the Security Service, and GCHQ, which is where all the spies used to hang out, and supporting charities past and present members of the UK Special Forces. Charles is the patron of the British Film Institute, and William is the patron of the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, known as BAFTA. So the whole thing dovetailed beautifully, and it really was a demonstration of how things should be done and can be done when they are properly done. She was spectacular looking. She really was. I think she's too ladylike to have ever been a Bond girl. Sorry, I nearly said blonde girl. I think she is too ladylike looking. She really does have the physiognomy, not only of a supermodel, but of a lady. And I can tell you, if you're 3 feet away from her, or 30 feet away from her, or you see her in photographs, she looks the same. Her everything about her demeanour, her manner, her looks, the way she dresses, just screams lady, lady, lady. What a pity that both brothers couldn't have found themselves ladies. Suzanne Gabrielle says, "Dear Lady C, I just watched the senior royals at the new James Bond movie premiere. Catherine looked absolutely breathtaking and William perfect in his formal attire. My naughty side is imagining someone scarfing down a pint or two of Ben and Jerry's, America's woke brand of ice cream, never heard of it, while watching it in Montecito. Love your videos and hope to hear your thoughts on this soon." Yes, well, more comfort eating, eh? More comfort eating. Yes. I gather that she's been doing a lot of comfort eating recently because she needs to comfort herself as to why, despite being perfect and despite being more intelligent than everybody else and having better ideas and being an authority on everything, it always misfires. I gather that it causes her great distress that all this plotting, planning, scheming, manoeuvring, manipulating and calculating for ever greater success always results in, if not total failure, partial failure. Well, if we started with presentation, Meghan, don't look further than your sister-in-law to see how it's correctly and properly done. She's a pro. You look like a different sort of a pro. Just doesn't come off. NS says, "Oh my God, did you see Kate and William at the Bond film premiere? Now that's how it's done." And I've read that because those are my sentiments expressed exactly. That is how it's done. But you know, the following morning they were up bright and early to fly to Ulster, where they visited Ulster University's Magee campus to meet with the student nurses who they'd previously spoken to via video calls. William was in a simple suit, discreet tie. Catherine in a striking purple trouser suit with a black turtleneck, because it's cool in Ireland. It's not 80 degrees. But she didn't have a coat. My goodness. Mickey, go get your Mattia coat. It's freezing cold here. It's 70-something degrees. Catherine, I think we need to send her one of Mottie's coats, because the fact of the matter is, Mickey, Catherine's going to get pneumonia if she keeps on going out in upper 60 degrees weather without at least 6 coats, all carefully merched. Also, of course, Catherine had on very simple jewellery. She had on her wedding ring, she had on her engagement ring, and very discreet hoop earrings, really discreet. It screamed good taste and respect for the people she was meeting. Unlike Meghan's costumes in New York, which, aside from screaming, merch, 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 I'm a merchant, merch, 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 I'm a merchant, gotta buy, rush, rush, rush to Target before it's reduced, go on, get it now, $2,999 to look like the back of the bus. Also, if we recall, Meghan went to Harlem wearing all sorts of jewellery, none of it discreet, none of it really decent-looking jewellery except for that which she's got from her late mother-in-law. Everything else is paltry and picky, and this is really far more suitable for a 17-year-old ingenue than a 40-year-old battle axe. But she thinks that's going to look good, and she wears $300,000 worth of jewellery to see poor children in Harlem, and that's supposed to be a clever move. I mean, the parallels with Evita become ever more apparent. Miss Whittank says, I am fully expecting Sunshine Sachs to be briefing against Catherine tomorrow when Meghan sees how amazing Catherine looked at the James Bond premiere this evening. My dear, they have already briefed against William and Catherine. Meghan, I understand, is insanely jealous of Catherine. Why? Well, I think you only need to look at the way Catherine looks and then look at the way Meghan looks. Catherine is naturally good looking. She has a spectacular figure. Meghan is very nice looking now that she has availed herself of every procedure, artifice and bit of plastic surgery known to a man, woman or child. But she doesn't have a good figure. No matter how thin she is, she's not a natural clothes horse. Boxy body, no waistline, scrawny legs until recently. The comfort eating, I think, has done her figure a lot of good, because I think now she actually has shapely legs. So I would encourage her to not lose all of that weight. She doesn't have a good figure, never did. But also, Catherine is genuinely very intelligent and a really sweet and kind person. She is everything Meghan presented herself as being while she was acting as if to get there. She's got there and she's dropped the act. It is the price that she has to pay, because mediocrity, when it has an envious streak, is always envious of that which is naturally more gifted. And Catherine was gifted by God with a spectacularly beautiful figure, and she is a good athlete. So she takes care of her figure. And I may point out to people who say that she has an eating disorder. She does not have an eating disorder. Look at her hair and teeth. If you have an eating disorder, you don't have good hair and teeth. That point is made for what it's worth. Farah Sadok says, did you see William and Catherine arrive at the new Bond film? This is tapering off, but there's a reason why I'm reading these out. Oh my goodness, what a dress. I could hear Goldfinger loudly in my head. Stupendous entrance. Yes, it did tip the wink to Goldfinger, and it did tip the wink to Shirley Bassey, who I have to tell you is a great gal, as well as a fabulous singer. To continue the question, I thought now William would be the ultimate 007, or wait a minute, a female Bond? Wow, Catherine would scoop up that one. I think that's why we're going to have an awful lot of comfort eating at Montecito, because Meghan's going to be looking in the mirror and thinking, mirror, mirror on the wall, I'm the fairest of us all. Why can't anyone else see but me? And why is everybody sort of acting as if I'm just not the greatest thing since sliced bread, when everybody knows I am, but they won't admit it because they're so jealous? Why mirror, mirror on the wall? I think it's because they're racist. And to wrap this up, finally, I thought I would belabor the point because it's good news, and it's nice to have good news. Lynn Mack says, Prince William and Catherine looked beautifully at the premiere of the new James Bond. William is definitely Bond, always so classy. And Chris NZ says, just watched the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge arriving at the Royal Albert Hall for the James Bond movie premiere. Pure grace and elegance. Totally outshine and outclass the New York City efforts of the Montecito duo. And he, or she, since I don't know whether Chris is a he or a she, has New York City in quotation marks, and city is spelled C-I-D-D-A-Y. And I will take those two together because that is why Meghan and Harry fail. Aside from the fact that they are now exposed as grifters, hustlers, phonies, hypocrites who virtue signal, preach a load of claptrap while doing the absolute opposite and are using everything to make themselves money. Classiness is not a word I am comfortable using, but since a lot of people have been using it to describe Catherine and William, I will go with it in this instance. William and Catherine come across as classy because they are elegant, they are appropriate, they wear well-fitted clothes, They don't look as if they came out of the washing machine tumble dryer. They have appropriate demeanour that acquits itself creditably. They don't play to the gallery. Like the Queen, they don't act. They are. You cannot have integrity and act. Integrity is something that people pick up when you are not acting, when you are being genuine, when you are being sincere, not when you project sincerity that you don't feel. Yes, Catherine and William are duller than Harry and Meghan. Thank God, because they are stable, solid, settled, and perfect in the role. That's the reason why they come across as classy, and that's the reason why Meghan and Harry don't. Insincerity screams out at people that you are pretending to be something you're not, and you're therefore not classy. Classy. I gotta say it all the time because nobody's gonna realize I'm classy unless I say it. Oh, and if I merch and wear all those tacky little bits and pieces of jewelry and promote them on the basis of the fact that I'm helping out people, well, of course, I'm helping out myself. That's classy. But Megs, classy isn't spelled K-L-A-S-S-Y. It's spelled C-L-A-S-S-Y. And on that note, I will come off the subject altogether and go to what Nicola says. She says that she watched your latest YouTube today. Spot on, Lady C. What I want to know is the truth about William not wanting royal celebration christening of Lilibet. Oh my dear. This Nicola has asked a very telling question. And this Nicola is someone who is very well connected. And this Nicola has been very mischievous in asking this question. And I'm not going to say who this person is. Suffice it to say that this is somebody who has her ear rather closer to the ground than most people. And I don't know if she has heard that William doesn't want it, or if she is surmising. I haven't asked her. I know who she is, obviously, but I thought I would answer the question cleanly rather than sullying my answer with too much information from the questioner. My information is that not only William, but the rest of the family do not want any great royal show for Meghan and Harry hereafter. They basically feel that they have departed, that they are still trying to be half in, half out, that they're still behaving in inappropriate ways. And you see, there is a big problem because the royal family and the institution of the monarchy is in a no-win situation where Harry and Meghan are concerned, unless they distance themselves from them. But if they distance themselves from them, they're also in a no-win situation. Because critics will say that they are being punitive, that they are being harsh, that they are being old-fashioned, that they are being stuffy. However, you can't be half in and half out, and Meghan and Harry are still trying to be half in and half out. And distance is what is going to be the immediate remedy. And then if Meghan and Harry end up behaving in a pseudo-acceptable fashion, they will be included occasionally. But make no mistake about it, this is a breach that is in many ways irrecoverable. AC says, Lady C, I love your show. You are so beautiful and polished. Thank you. I love listening to your show. Do you think if the Queen simply removed their titles, it would put an end to all these antics we have been witnessing? In my opinion, they are no different from spoiled children displaying bad behaviour, being a menace while the parents, conditioned to their behaviour, remain silent or indifferent. Do you think the royal family has a plan to rein in these two, or is simply accepting defeat? Your thoughts are most welcomed. Well, your question is actually a very reasonable encapsulation of the dilemma. They are spoilt brats, behaving irresponsibly and destructively. Yes, the family and the institution has been trying to create parameters which will minimize or lessen the damage. There is the feeling that unless the whole system is changed, that Harry and Meghan would be able to bleat martyrdom. Martyrdom. We've been martyred by the racists. We've been martyred by the misogynists. We've been martyred by the classists. It's classists. They've been martyred. So there is a problem. How to deal with it? It's a very delicate situation and it's not easily resolvable. I know how difficult it is to deal with situations where members of a family are recalcitrant and play to the public gallery. I've had it happen to me at my own expense, so I have some insight as to how these things are dealt with. And I'm here to tell you, you need a combination of firmness, truth, decency, and you also need the resolve to not allow it to continue more than it has to. But short of eliminating them, you actually cannot get rid of the problem particularly easily. And Harry and Meghan are human beings with human rights. The institution of the monarchy is supposed to be a decent institution representing decency and respect for people's human rights. Everybody has the right to behave badly. Let me put it that way. People have a right to behave badly if they choose to do so. And if they don't have a right, they certainly make sure they create the opportunity. You can't say to somebody who's behaving badly, I'm going to strip you of your human rights because you're behaving badly. That does not make sense. That's a total non sequitur. So I will say, and I will repeat, yes, the family has been trying and the courtiers have been trying to counterbalance and counteract Harry and Meghan's conduct. And to an extent, they're succeeding. It's just not necessarily so obvious to everybody. But, you know, either they're going to be down there in the gutter with the gutter snipes, or they're going to play the long game and the more elegant game, such as we have seen recently with William and Catherine. That's, you know, success is often the greatest antidote to jerks and creeps. Joy Pepper says, I'm a proud American, a daughter of a veteran and the aunt of an army sergeant. I am appalled that a non-citizen, a prince, in quotation marks, from another country, who has abandoned his country and his position in his country's military in exchange for making a fortune, will be awarding medals to our brave US veterans. Why would anyone bestow this honor to a traitor? I would love to know why our own commander-in-chief would not be doing this. My dear, you set a huge trap for me and I'm quite determined not to fall into it. Because I'm not going to alienate all the Biden supporters by saying that at the moment Biden is unpopular with the military in the United States. And that seems to me to be a pretty good reason right there why maybe he didn't want to be stepping into that frame. Also, Harry has a reputation, somewhat unearned, for having been something of a hero in Afghanistan. Harry also was in the military and plays up to his military role and evidently was very happy in the military, or as happy as it's capable for somebody like him to have been. I think it's inappropriate as well. I think had he been a genuine war hero who'd maybe lost an arm or a leg, I tell you who I think they should have asked. If they wanted to ask a foreign national who is a genuine war hero, who has genuinely done a world of good, not only for the military, but for many people, Simon Weston. Simon Weston was terribly disfigured in the Falklands War, and he is one of the most noble, decent, kind, honourable representatives of what the military is all about. I would encourage them next year to ask Simon Weston, and to use the vernacular, they'll see what a real class act is all about. Brown Eye Lady says, I am having a problem. It doesn't make any sense to be heavier after the alleged pregnancy. Doesn't happen that way. Look at all the photos. She is thin, just a popped belly. I have to say this is one of many questions along that theme and observations. Several women who've had several children have written in to say that you don't put on weight after the baby's born, especially if you're breastfeeding. You put on weight before the baby's born. You lose weight after the baby's born. Well, all of that may be true and fair. But there are several reasons why Meghan has put on weight. Let me put it that way. My own belief and the information I have got has been that she has been comfort eating. There is also speculation that she is on mood stabilizers because she certainly has been very up and down, because this magical nirvana that she demanded be created has not materialized. And despite chipping away at it, it still is eluding her. If she is indeed on mood stabilizers, that would also be conducive to a weight gain, especially if she's comfort eating. But Meghan being Meghan, we need to consider other possibilities. And I do this one, read this out as really because it's so funny. Leo Rising says, I have this feeling that next in her plan is a very lucrative Weight Watchers contract within which she can opine about her struggle to lose weight and how people taunted her. That way she can continue on a poor me trajectory. I gewalt. What can I say, you know? It shows when you are as devious, manipulative, calculating, and all-enhancingly attention-seeking as Meghan, with throwing out all different sorts of options. One day it's we're going to live in England, the next no we're not, the next we're going to visit England, the next no we're not. That people end up believing nothing. But I will make one observation. She has a bit of a double chin, which she never had before, and she has thighs, which she never had before. So she has gained weight. I personally think she looks perfectly okay with the weight on. Maybe she should shape up a little bit. Oh, but also I have to say, people have also observed that Meghan's supposed to be a yogi of the highest order. She has not lost the baby weight, but has gained more weight. That is sort of, I want to get to the south coast, so I head north first. Doesn't make sense. Really doesn't make sense. Also, some people believe she is padding. That she is padding. She might have gained a bit of weight, but the weight is shifting according to the photographs really rather conveniently. You know, in the winter clothes at the height of a summer heat, when she had on the belted trousers with the tucks and flares, she had a waistline. Then, the following day, she doesn't have a waistline and she's bulking up. I don't think anybody can eat that much ice cream. So, is it real or is it fake? Who knows? But the mere fact that people are speculating and that there is room for doubt means that people have sussed that this is a woman whom they cannot and do not trust. It screams chancing, let's put it that way. Kirsten Anderson says, astounding how those two who claimed to want a private life are more attention publicity seeking than the Kardashians. Certainly true. Do they, because in fairness to the Kardashians, they limit certain things in a way that Meghan and Harry haven't, although it has to be said that Meghan hasn't yet actually shown us some of the crown jewels the way Kim did. Maybe that's one for the future. Do they really think they can be that hypocritical and no one is going to call them on it? They are either really stupid or think that the rest of the population is really stupid. Reality is probably a combination of both. What do I think? I know as a fact that Meghan thinks she's cleverer than everybody else. I have been told it by many people who know her very well. She has a belief in her rightness and in her brilliance that actually borders on the insane, if it hasn't actually arrived fully blown in the territory. And I would actually respectfully submit that it's most likely very definitely in the territory. That degree of self-confidence is delusionalism. Harry is stupid. He has some forms of intelligence which have been eroded under the ministrations of Meghan, and this I have heard from many people who know him really well. They despair of how Meghan has completely distorted Harry's personality. But let us not forget, if the potential hadn't been there, she couldn't have achieved it. Is it stupidity or is it delusionalism? I think it is on his part stupidity and delusionalism, and on her part delusionalism and insanity, because I've said it before and I'll say it again. The Einstein theory of insanity, if you've done it 999 times and had one effect, and the 1000th time you expect a different effect, that's not stupidity, that's insanity. I think she is nuttier than a fruitcake. And I can tell you something, you can be very intelligent, and if you're insane, you're also very stupid. I know what I'm talking about because my mother was extremely intelligent. But my God, talk about disconnected from reality and therefore in some ways dumb. Cecilia H. says, Lady C, I enjoy your videos and especially your witty impersonations of the bitter Meghan Tall. That's a new one. Put the British royals aside for a bit. I wonder if you are aware of the ongoing Free Britney Spears case and the feud between her and her family. I believe it's her father primarily. It would be much appreciated if you would be so kind as to share your opinions or thoughts on this. Well, I don't really know enough to give a considered opinion. I only know what I've read, and I'm not an expert on this subject. And quite frankly, I found this subject extremely distressing because, when I was growing up, I was aware of the fact that my father was desperate to get me committed to an asylum to save the family name so that nobody would know that I had a birth defect and was going to, if I had it corrected, was going to ruin the family name by having bad publicity. In fairness to Daddy, when I did have the bad publicity, he stood by me and was brilliant, actually. But that came 10 years later. So I know what it's like to have a father who you're at loggerheads with. I also know what it's like to have a father who decides that he and his interests come before yours. Now, there was nothing mentally wrong with me, and there was something mentally wrong with Britney Spears. So to give her father his due, his intercession was desirable and invaluable at the time. But if what I read is correct, the degree of control he has exerted is truly sick. And it shows that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Because under his ministrations, evidently, if it is true, they even had bugs in her bedroom. And there's absolutely nothing that she did that was not private. That was not public, meaning known to them, no matter how private it was. And that's just terrible. I can see why he would think, oh, she's so clever that, I've got to police her to the nth degree. But that is indicative of a problem that he has. It's also indicative of her soundness of mind and good health. It's also indicative of the fact that if she is so functional, and she was clearly very functional because she was able to earn a shed load of money that he had absolute control over, while she had no access to any of that money, and he wanted her to continue being functional over a 13-year period. Very disturbing. I think that no matter what his motives, I think he has control issues. And I think that he should have been stood down some considerable length of time ago. And I'll tell you better. I think it is a violation of her human rights. And I think it says a very great deal negatively about the state in which she lives and their shocking laws that somebody over a period of 13 years can be fully functional, making millions of dollars and literally having access to none of that money, while somebody appointed by the courts and the state has access over her every right, even her right to bear a child. If she was so functional, I'm sorry, if she's self-destructive, she wants to destroy herself, that's her right. Nobody has the right to stop her, in my not so humble view. You know, in life you have to realize at some point that you can't police everybody and that not everybody has the same fate or destiny. I had to come to terms with the fact that my mother was going to drink herself to death no matter what. Would I have liked something different? Yes. Was I going to force her into rehab, as my father and brother did on more than one occasion? No. Why? She, as her psychiatrist said to my father in the presence of my little sister, "You're wasting your money." You cannot, if people have human rights, and everybody does have human rights, you cannot preserve somebody from themselves. If they wish to destroy themselves, they must be allowed to do so after you have tried everything in your power to prevent them from doing so. But you cannot play God at the expense of others' rights. This is actually touching upon the fact that Meghan and Harry have rights. And distressing though it is to see some of the palavers to which they get up to. If we respect the human being, we have to respect the human being to do things that we don't like. If they're going to harm us, yes, we should take steps to prevent them. If they are going to harm society generally, yes, we should take steps to prevent them. However, if they are going to harm themselves, I'm sorry, I do not think it is in our place to stop them. I think it is in our place to respect their decision and allow them to get on with it. How else can people achieve salvation except by being the guardians of their own souls? We are not the guardians of each other's souls. So, I suppose you could say what I am advocating is true Christianity. Love the person even if you don't love what they do. And it is also proper old-fashioned philosophy. Respect people even when you do not agree with them, as long as they're not destroying you or others. You don't have the right to play God. And on that note, I will say thank you very much for listening. I hope this has been of some interest to you. If it has, please like, share, subscribe, press the notification bell, and please remember, keep the questions and comments coming in. This would not be possible without your input. Thank you and goodbye. God bless.